If Cardano gets above 80 cents, we're going to see a whole different shift in how fast this token moves. I want to show you what I'm looking at on the Cardano chart and how Bitcoin has been getting very bullish, leading to Cardano and other altcoins getting very bullish as well. We're seeing Ethereum over $2,300 and ADA getting back to about 80 cents. Now, I think 80 cents to 85 cents is a very key level for ADA. And if you're an ADA holder, you need to know about this level and you need to know what Cardano is doing price action wise. So let me break it down on the weekly and the daily chart to give you just the best information you can possibly have about how to play this scenario. Okay, this is the weekly chart for Cardano. We've been watching this. This is the beautiful bear market that we've been in for what seems like forever, right? And so let's finally get us out of this bear market and really get Cardano moving back to $1, back to $1.50, back to $3. How does that happen? Well, this is the move right here that we have been patiently watching and waiting over the past couple of months. Cardano dipped below the 40-week moving average, which was a very bearish sign. But very rapidly, over 2 weeks, it got back above the 40-week moving average, which to me is a very good indicator of health. After Cardano got above the 40-week moving average, what we needed to see next is Cardano getting above the 30-week moving average, because something can break down, come back up and test the 30-week, and then fail again. Now we're at this key pivotal level of, is Cardano going to push higher, basically push above 80 cents, or is it going to retrace this move and fail again? Let's talk about both scenarios so you have all the information. Now, what I want to see with Cardano, what I'm actively watching is, this week and basically next week, because next week is, 2 days away, basically. I'm recording this on the 9th of May, but this moving average here, you can see, is acting as a little bit of resistance for Cardano's price, and the moving average is at 0.784. 78 cents basically. Cardano's price right now is at 78 cents. So it's really touching where that moving average is, providing a little bit of resistance to where Cardano needs to break out of. Now, if we're bullish on Cardano, which I personally am, and I hope you are, what we want to see either throughout the rest of this week or next week, basically 2 or 3 weeks, is we want Cardano to get above this 30-week moving average. This can look something like this. We're going to have this 30-week moving average coming across right here, right? And so what we want to see is, whether this week closes at the moving average or a little bit above the moving average, next week we want to see ADA get above. If next week doesn't get above, let's say next week goes something like this, and it kind of retraces a little bit between the 30 and 40 week moving average, the next week, in 2 or 3 weeks, we'd want ADA to make its way back above that 30-week moving average, close above it, and then the fourth week would then close above and open above the 30-week, making this 30-week moving average a new support level that ADA can rely on to build a base and then kind of move back into a new cycle high. What that could look like is something like this. We have Cardano. We kind of have this headline here, right? You can kind of see this here where we got a bunch of candles coming in here. We got one here, we got one here, we got these two. This is a good spot for Cardano, in my opinion, right around $1.20, $1.18. And so what I would like to see for Cardano, what I think is actively happening, is Cardano is trying to come up and get back to this area. There's a couple scenarios, bullish and bearish, here that could happen. I'm personally leaning bullish, although I'm going to let the chart tell me what to do. But what I think is happening here is, Bitcoin's rallying, crypto's rallying, M2 is going up. We have a lot of things moving into the summer, and I think we're going to have a pretty bullish summer. What we want to look at here as Cardano investors is, step number one, Cardano has to get above the 30-week moving average, right? He needs to come up here and close somewhere up here above the 30-week in order to solidify it is back in an uptrend. Above the 30-week is an uptrend, below the 30-week is a downtrend. Like, look at this, right? Cardano right here is above the 30-week, and then it launches. It breaks below the 30-week, and then it collapses, right? You can see that. It got above the 30-week, and this is a shorter term one, but it did come up here before breaking down lower, right? And so it got up again. Right? These are all the moves that we like to watch around the 30 and 40-week moving average, determining how the overall trend is going to be. And so this price action here has been a little bit slower. We haven't had as clean of a transition, but I think what we're seeing here is this could be the start of that cleaner transition, where if Cardano does get above this and then does head back into its all-time high for this cycle and then breaks above this, we could see this 30-week and this 40-week really turn up here and Cardano ride that much, much higher into the rest of the altcoin season or bull run that we really think we're going to get. And so what I think is going to happen here is, Cardano is going to build out this right side over here. And that's where we get a cup and handle. That's where we get a volatility contraction pattern. And this looks something like this. Cardano is going to come up here, Maybe it flirts with this 30-week a little bit. Maybe it just comes straight up, but then probably it will come back and retest the 30-week again, and it will build out this section right here. It will have a smaller amount of volatility and really get pushed up against this headline here and kind of build, like this triangle. I don't like to think of it as a triangle. It's definitely a cup and handle. It definitely is going to look like something like this, where price is going to come up and then it's going to build out a side. It could be, one move up. It could be a move up, a breakdown, and then a move up again before it builds the handle, something like that. Right, something like that. And but basically what I think we want to see, and if I'm a Cardano investor, is you want to see this Cardano price do two things. First, get above the 30-week and make the 30-week support, right? The second thing is then move up to this high for the cycle so far, around 120 or $1.20 for ADA, and then Cardano gets really bullish when it breaks above this level. Am I bullish on ADA here? Yes, I am, but I don't want to get overly bullish until ADA makes a move here, getting it above all of this resistance that's right here. What could happen, the bearish scenario, is let's say Cardano, let me clean this up here a little bit. Cardano comes up and touches this trend line, right? Let's say Cardano comes up here and, it doesn't break above. But what if Cardano comes up here? If Cardano is just sitting in this area, it's not really bullish yet as far as the altcoin season where Cardano goes to $3, $5, $7, $10, right? At this stage, Cardano is still just kind of sitting in the same area. And so what you want to see as an investor is, one, get above the 30-week, but then two, break above $1.20 and start to get to $1.50. Cardano doesn't really get super bullish until it gets to $1.50. And at that price point, it starts to really rise much faster. Just like Bitcoin's coming into its all-time high, but it really doesn't get super bullish until it gets to like $110,000 and sets a new all-time high. As of this point, if Cardano just comes here, it could instantly fall down, break below the 30, break below the 40, and then we're just setting a lower low, which would mean we're really going into another bear market. If Cardano cannot come up here and put in a new all-time high for the cycle somewhere up here, 140 or $1.40 plus, it would not be a good sign, and it would be a sign of a lower high. This high being up here and this high being down here, which is a bearish thing. Let's take a look at this on the daily chart. Let me change this up a little bit. Let me toss in some new moving averages here. So we're going to look at the a few moving averages here. We're going to have the 50 in yellow. We're going to have the 150 in orange, the 150-day. And then we're going to have the 200-day in dark red. Okay, this dark red one, the 200-day. The 200-day is the most important one. What the 200-day means is you want two things. You want price to get above the 200-day, but then when the 200-day is in an uptrend, you are having an asset that is rising rapidly, right? Rising over a long period of time. And so that 200-day is really significant of where the cycle is going to go. You can see over here, 200-day is moving up, and then over here, 200-day is moving down. Right now, the 200-day has been kind of just like moving sideways and hasn't really gotten that massive uptrend that we need. And so this could be the start of it. And it all starts by Cardano getting above the 200-day, which could look something like this. We could see Cardano come up, break above this 200-day, sit on it, and then start to make its way higher while we have this 150-day curl up. We have this 200-day curl up, and then we're going to have this 50-day come up here and meet Cardano up here. Now, this could be a major area of confluence where maybe Cardano's price comes up and touches this line, breaks back down, touches the 50-day, and then comes back up and really has that time when it breaks above this kind of resistance level around $1.20 and then starts to move to that higher high of $1.50 or $2 somewhere in there. So this is what I really think is happening on Cardano. This move is going to be very important, though, as it builds out the handle for the cup and handle pattern. We can also look at a couple other things that Cardano's doing. I don't want to overcomplicate it. I mean, the theory is really simple. That is what I'd be watching if I were you. And then as Cardano basically moves into this new high ground, it becomes very bullish very quickly because, I mean, like the next layer is basically somewhere up here around $2, maybe, $1.50, $2, and then we have our high at $3. And so that is the next area where investors will feel very comfortable getting in. You can instantly jump in as Cardano is breaking out of this level here and really catch that major ride higher, right? You don't really have to do anything special. You just kind of ride that momentum. What's really important, though, is how Cardano is playing around with Bitcoin. I like to look at this on a weekly chart. Let's flip the moving averages back to the 30 and 40. And what we want to see here is Cardano kind of replicating this move, right? This move right here. Cardano's had this retracement. Not really sure if it's going to touch all the way down here before heading up or if it's going to kind of break above this level. But we want to see Cardano get back above the 30 and 40 week moving averages, just like it has on USD. But now it needs to do it on Bitcoin. So if I was watching the ADA Bitcoin chart, I want to see Cardano get above this 30 week moving average again to get really bullish again. So then ADA is starting to climb against Bitcoin. That might take some time because Bitcoin dominance is just starting to fall a little bit. So this might not be as quick as we'd like to see, but that is another thing I'd be looking at for ADA to have strength in the overall market. The final thing we can look at is ADA dominance, which you can see this is actually holding up a little bit better than ADA Bitcoin because this 40-week moving average is moving right in here. We have our 30-week moving average rolling in here, and you can see how price is just sitting right on top of that 40-week moving average. Now, this could be bullish because ADA over the next week or two could be able to break above the 30 based on that strength. That's really good. We want Cardano to get back up here to around, in my opinion, 3.5% to 4%. This range is what we're aiming for on Cardano. This is going to help Cardano really take that $3, $5, $7 area, especially if you consider maybe Bitcoin is, 150, or the total crypto market cap is like 5 trillion or 7 trillion. Then you can simply take 4% of the total crypto market cap and you can figure out, okay, well, Cardano is X dollars per ADA. You can do the same thing on ADA Bitcoin right here. If ADA Bitcoin can get back up here to around this 5,000 Satoshi level, well, if Bitcoin's $150,000, then you can do the math to figure out what Cardano would be at that level. Overall, though, I want to convey the message that I really like what I'm seeing here on the ADA chart. Two things need to happen. ADA needs to get above this 30-week moving average and hold it. The second thing that needs to happen is ADA needs to break above this recent all-time high, make a new higher high in order to keep the trend going. If it doesn't, if it comes up here, sits here around, $1.20 and fails downwards and then doesn't make a new higher high, right, over the next couple months, we will be in bearish territory. ADA will fall down and then we'll have to come back down in here into this accumulation zone and just kind of have a boring time. So nobody wants to have a boring time, right? We want ADA to do well. And so two things need to happen. ADA needs to get above the 30-week moving average. Then it needs to break up here to around $1.40 and head higher. Then the train will really get started. I think that 80-cent level right now is so important because 80 cents is about right here. 80 cents is about right here. And this is basically where we're having this this confluence of the 30-week moving average and ADA price. And so that to me is a very big level. I think when we put it on the daily chart, yeah, it is right here where we have that 200-day rolling in. I know the chart looks a little messy right now, but this is 80 cents. 80 cents is a massive level where we have the 150-day, the 200-day, and this resistance here of the 30-week moving average. This is a massive level. ADA needs to get above. It needs to get to like 85 or 90 cents and then sit on top of that 80-cent level and not give it up. That's what I'm watching on Cardano. If you like the video, please drop a comment down below. We would appreciate a like and a subscribe. In the description is the Crypto 100X Blueprint where we talk about a lot of this stuff. So if you're liking the videos, you'll definitely like the newsletter. It's absolutely free. Go ahead and join us down there. We'd love to have you. Other than that, I hope you enjoyed the video. See you in the next one for more Cardano content and more crypto content.